Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another production of the Cross-Platform Baseball League. My name is Dwayne. I'm one of the co-commissioners of this league, and joining me in the booth once again is league veteran and AA, current number one, Mr. Oxbox. How you doing tonight, Ox? Welcome back to Weekly Roundup.
Hey, what's up, Dwayne? Good to be here for yet another roundup. It's getting exciting here as we get into the thick of the XBL season, man. We're getting down to it.
Yeah, absolutely. We are getting to the business end of both the AA and AAA, as these are the final week for regular season games in both of those leagues, respectively, before the round robins kick off next week, where everybody's going to be vying for those quarterfinal positions. And the final 8 in both of those leagues will be settled rather quickly. It feels like we're cutting out 2 rounds of playoffs that we were much more used to having in leagues seasons past. So this new format will be really exciting for AA and AAA. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the XBL rankings as that really starts to shape up. Next week we'll have playoff talk for the XBL. We've got plays of the week and some really good stat stuff from Wishbone. So without further ado, let's head over to the rankings and get our jams rolling over here as well. And we'll start off with the AA. What's up, Ox?
We won't look at the XBL bracket yet this week, but it is getting down to where people are down to their last, maybe 3, 4 opponents, and those teams fighting for that 12 spot or better are really getting down to the nitty gritty. So, good luck to everybody in the last couple weeks here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure we're going to be, talking about a few of those players who are really in that mix-up as we go through the list here tonight. So, going to be a lot of good content here on the board. We're starting off in the AA, as I stated a couple of moments ago, and this is Joey down here at number 13, who dips from number 12 last week after Staribuko finally picked up a few of his first wins. We're going to see him moving on up a little bit.
Yeah, nice job to Staribuko getting not only his first win, but I think he have 3 wins maybe this week, and good job by his scratch and sniffs. As Teamsters, we didn't see a whole lot of action from them lately, but he's definitely going to look to carry some of this rookie season blues, and refresh into the playoffs when the round robin gets started.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely look to the Teamsters and the other teams down here, ranks 10, 11, 12, and 13 to still be in the mix for those final 2 quarterfinal positions in the, the bottom half round robin, as we stated at the beginning of the show. As we look here at 10, 11, and 12. It is Snowbird and the Black Roses, who just completed their season yesterday in the beginning of week 5, followed by Captain Bruisen and the Sea Monsters, a rookie club, and then Staribuko, who we just talked about, picking up his first 3 wins in his XBL career last week.
Yeah, great job to them. He was on the cusp all season. Like we said, these bottom 4 teams going to look to really hit the restart button as the AA round robin begins, and there's still a chance that any of these two teams could sneak into that top 8 for the final bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. And I look here at some of the stats for these clubs. They're all trying to really find their way offensively, and just one of the more eye-popping stats I've seen to point out. I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, but relatively low strikeouts to walks on the defensive end from the bottom 2 teams who have had a rough time giving up a lot of runs, and then there's Snowbird, who's got more walks given up than strikeouts pitched. So you have to think, if Snow can remedy that going into the round robin, that 5-19 record is going to look a whole lot different.
Yeah, and Snow, she can hit with the best of them. So, definitely don't sleep on her as we head into the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. Extra runners on base are always going to be hard to stop from scoring. So that's something you'll definitely look to remedy from the Black Roses going into the playoffs and the round robin. Let's look at 7, 8, and 9 in the AA right now. We do have a tie rank at number 8. It is Dad Slush and his L7 and Comedy Baseball and Fresh Poet, who's starting to show a lot of grit offensively, and they're preceded by the Saints and Azrael, who had a quiet week, losing a couple games to Rise and Fall and then splitting with Rick.
Yeah, Azrael actually is having a pretty good season after having, starting off with a rough record. Sitting at 6 and 8 in that 7th spot in the rankings. I think that's about where they are in the actual AA rankings as well. So, and then Dad Slush, when that guy plays games, he seems to be right there in the thick of it with anybody right around. All 3 of these teams are going to be fighting for that cutoff spot of the top 6 in the round robin as we conclude this final week of the AA season. Every game's huge.
For sure, and then staying hot into the round robin is going to be big, no matter how many games you've managed to win, in the regular season. So we'll move up the board to ranks 4, 5, and 6. Another rank tie at number 5 here. At number 4, we have Ben Mack moving up, really showing a lot of offensive prowess. He had a few days off earlier this week for Mardi Gras, so he got some games in. He's looking really good. And then he's followed by Rick and his Magicians and Tam Dancins and the Hudson Softies. Rick got a ton of games in last week, really solidified his record. His season's just about finished. He's got one more series to go. And then Tam is at 14 games. He's looked strong all year. He's got more to pick up, and he has a good chance to keep moving up the board should, he finish up this week strong.
Yeah, a great job there by the 2 teams, Rick and to Ben 19. Having really strong weeks, and Rick getting a big split against both the guys to his right and left. So a really strong finish by the Magicians after taking some lumps. And Tam kind of, dropping a spot due to really just not playing a whole lot. And the Razorbacks kind of getting back into where we thought they would be at the beginning of the season. He's really come on offensively, like you said.
Yeah, he really has, and he's going to be challenging these next three teams come the round robin and playoff time, and we are looking at the AA top three for the final power rankings of the season. It is the undefeated Nazgul 9 at the top, followed by AG and the Best Buds, who had a quiet week away on vacation, going to be coming back to finish up the season in a couple days, and then followed by Rise and Fall and the Pirates, who have looked really strong as well this season after dropping down from AAA. He's going to be in that hunt challenging.
Yeah, you see the Best Buds only allowing 3.95 per 9 on the mound. That's really good. And under 300 batting average against as well. Both the Best Buds and the Pirates took a vacation in the last, week or so. So maybe they're coming back from the beach refreshed and ready to go, looking to knock off the 9. Hey, man, I called it last season with C-Man. I'm calling it again this season. The regular season undefeated guy, he's not going to win the championship, Dwayne.
Oh, I don't know. There's a fair bit of control in that statement on your end, so we'll see how it goes. Everybody's going to be looking at the 9 to, have some success in the playoffs. But like you said, anything could happen. Last season, we did indeed see it. We saw C-Man finish the AAA season undefeated and then take his first losses in the first round from Unholy Yeezus, but he got past Yeezus, and then Chronic Lies in the semifinals swept C-Man. So who knows what will happen in the AA playoffs. It will be exciting. Ox right now undefeated, looking strong at the top.
Yeah, they call me Oxtradamus, Dwayne, but
They do.
that's gonna do it for our AA rankings this week.
Let's take a quick look at the AA playoff round robin.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, so here we do have a quick eye on the way the round robin looks as it stands today. At the end of this week, this will be finalized, but most of the teams at the top end are pretty much solidified, especially in the 1 through, I would say, 4 range. 5 still has some games to play. 6 could get pushed out by someone who's behind him, depending on how things go for them. A couple teams also behind. But right now, this has been the strongest group in AA all season. I would have to say at the top half round robin, they're going to be in that mix for the 6 guaranteed berths.
Yeah, honestly, other than Snowbird, actually, is the one team I would have guessed from the preseason that I might have had different in this top 6, but really everybody else is not surprised. I'm not surprised to see those 6 on the left-hand side, but I also would not be surprised to see any of the 7, 8, 9 guys steal a spot from Tam Danitz or Rick maybe in this final week of the season. All 3 of those teams kind of sleeper dangerous. They could go on a little run here this week. But otherwise, it's going to be a real toss-up to see who comes out of those 2 teams on the right-hand side.
Yeah, I would say a lot depends on how many games Dad Slush has left to play and who they're against. He could be pushing Rick or the Hudson Softies out of that 5 or 6 spot. If he doesn't, I would say out of the 8 teams remaining or 7 teams remaining down there in the AA in the bottom half round robin, I would say the best chance to get through is going to be the Black Roses, excuse me. And then I'm going to say Comedy Baseball. I have a lot of faith in that offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Comedy Baseball been putting up a lot of runs this season, and Black Roses, of everybody on your screen, is the only returning XBL player. So she's going to have a real advantage come playoff time to get through those bottom 6 teams and really work into, if any of those teams on the right can come through, and the same goes for AAA, if you can get the top 2 and get into that final 8 bracket, it's like March Madness, baby. You could just keep on going and going and going. Who knows when you're going to stop?
Yeah, absolutely. You could really make a run all the way through. And it's going to be valuable to just stay hot. And, those extra games against, there's 7 teams here, so everyone's going to play 6 games. You do well in those 6 games, get momentum going into the bracket. Like you said, anything can happen. It's going to be a lot like sort of a March Madness scenario. So good luck to everybody in the AA at the end of this week after everything gets solidified. We'll probably talk more about the finalized bracket next week on Weekly Roundup.
Yeah, we'll get to look at the finalized brackets for AA and AAA, and also get to take a really nice preview of the XBL playoff bracket as well.
Yes, for sure. Let's take a look now at the AAA power rankings, and then we'll talk about that round robin potential on this show as well tonight. So looking at ranks 13 and 14, these are the two teams who just played on Match of the Week the other night. It is Ball Justice and Mystery Incorporated under the bus, picking up that nice sweep against Mystery Man on Match of the Week. They were hard-fought games, though, from both players.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of that all season out of both guys. Just absolute battles for 9 innings out of both of them, and that's exactly what they gave each other. A couple of one-run victories for Ball Justice, and Mystery Man was a mind-blown base running mistake away from probably splitting that series. But we won't talk about that, as both these guys have battled and battled all season long. Along with Black Coffee, and I think any of those three could really make a run through the round robin.
Yeah, I think Mystery Man, especially one of the players who preaches the most about the big reset button in the AA or AAA playoffs, and the round robin is going to be exactly that. I think for a player, especially in his scenario, who's had a really tough regular season, but he's going to go into that ready to, win as many games 5 times over, if not more. So we'll see how he does and how Ball Justice does going forward in that round robin. As we move up the board to talk more about the other players at ranks 10, 11, and 12, we are seeing Deck and the Golden Doodles take a dip from rank number 9 last week, followed by Black Coffee and the Purple Pumas, who beat those Golden Doodles on Match of the Week last Monday night, and followed by Heisman and the Stars, who recently swept Mist but had a quiet week. He's picked up a few wins, though, in the past 2 weeks, did Heisman, after a little bit of inactivity.
Yeah, great job. The Heisman came back after a little bit of a hiatus there and split a lot of good teams. Split no name even, so some good victories there by the Stars, as he sits just behind the Golden Doodles and the Pumas, like we said. Pumas did sweep the Golden Doodles, so pretty interchangeable there at 10 and 11, and both of all three of these guys figuring it out as they go. We've got a lot of rookies in the AAA.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's definitely a lot in the fact that Deck has played a tough schedules at that number 2 strength of schedule. Picked up some wins against the above 500 teams, playing into that higher ranking than Black Coffee. But if these two go head to head any point down the line, the round robin game, that's going to be, a big time for Black Coffee and those Purple Pumas to prove themselves there. And as you said, I think especially in the form of Coffee and the form of Golden Doodles, they're going to be two of those teams looking to be in the front running to take those extra playoff spots. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Let's keep sliding up the board to rank 7, 8, and 9. We have a rank tie at number 8 here in the AAA, just like we did in the AA. First, we have the Chronic Femme Fatales led by Chronic Lies, who finally got back into action this week. Still pretty behind on games, looking to see more out of them to get things started. And then that rank tie is between Dark Raider and his Montreal Rocket, and then Diesel and the Hikers.
Wayne, those Hikers keep sliding up the power rankings each week. He keeps on sneaking in there to a different, the little 3. He's crept into the 7, 8, 9 third of the rankings now, and the number 1 strength of schedule still sitting right there around 500. He actually beat Dark Raider today to get the season split against the Rocket. So 2 really good players right there, both sitting right around 500, and both still fighting for that 6th spot. They could sneak in there. You never know. Still got some games left.
Yeah, for sure. It will be a big fight between these two who just played today, like you said.
Chronic Lies also could obviously get the 6th spot as well.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be big for players, who are super behind right now in week 5 of the AAA to make sure they finish, or else, there is a possibility spots could get forfeited to players who, have finished their schedule. So let's, worry about that when the time comes. But, the onus is on playing games right now, because a lot of teams, especially in the middle, have a potential to push themselves over the top. Let's take a look.
Make him flex that commissioner muscle, guys. We don't want any Manfred action going on.
Yeah, no Manfred action. We've had enough of that, this week for maybe a lifetime more.
No kidding. Yeah.
Let's talk about ranks 4, 5, and 6 in the XII. We have the Base Bandits and the Unholy Milkmen tied at rank number 4 this week. An honor for both of them to be, favored so highly. And then following them is the Heavy Hitters, who dipped from rank number 5 to an official rank number 6 this week. He is back in action, though, and a little bit of rust seems to be on those Heavy Hitters bats.
Yeah, knock that rust off, Tezzy. I know you've been gone a while, man, but I've got to hand the credit to Unholy Milkman this week. I personally bumped him up 3 or 4 spots in the rankings, and I think it's well deserved. If you look at that games played this week, he goes 7-1 and splits with No Name, who he's tied in 4th with. So I think 4th in the rankings is well deserved for the Milkman, and you see those offensive numbers right up there at the top of the league with anybody. So he's certainly dangerous, as we know, at the dish, and he's just got to get those runs allowed per 9 and batting average against down if he wants to try to take home the title this season.
Yeah, what a ride it is usually for the Milkmen and any team that's headed by Unholy Jesus through the power rankings throughout a season. He started out at number 1 again, I think, this season, and then he was way down past somewhere in the the 7, 8, 9, 10 range. Then he crept back up into 4, 5, 6. Now he's back in the top 4, way above 500. So that's classic Milkman baseball if I've ever seen it, to put himself back in the conversation up here.
Exactly, yeah, and he's had a similar season last season, but definitely improved upon, as you see that 16-8 record, and he's on a tear right now.
Yeah, for sure. And the Base Bandits themselves, as we just stated, have played not as strong schedules. So we'll see if some of these bigger games for him down the line put him in jeopardy of losing this favorable position. But, as it stands right now, all these teams big in the mix. Let's look at 1, 2, and 3 in the XII. We have not a lot of movement here, as Big George and the Night Owls remain at number 1, followed by Blue Panther and the Foxes, who were tied at number 1 last week with him, but now are distinctly ranked number 2. And then Eduardo and the Sirloins remain at number 3. He's still having a strong season.
Yeah, Eduardo doing a great job. One thing you'll notice, guys, right here is all 3 of these teams really share in common runs scored per 9 above 5, and of course George and Panther way above 5, and runs allowed per 9 under 4, which Panther and George looking like the top 2 pitchers in the league as well. Doing a great job on the mound in both runs allowed and batting averages against, and not George only allowing 7 bombs on the year. That's crazy.
Yeah, only 7 bombs from George allowed, as you stated, 7 home runs, and then the batting average against for Blue Panther, a stunning 239, and a whip under 1. So record-breaking stuff potentially from Blue Panther in the XII. We'll have to see how he does in the end, and same goes for George. Neither of these players, I was gonna say, neither of these players are getting a whole ton of strikeouts.
Yeah, they're very crafty on the mound, as is Eduardo. A lot of strikes and a lot of missed barrels, but it's gonna make that Von Asen vote very tough.
For sure, we'll have to be looking towards that award show pretty soon. That'll be a really exciting time, as it always is in the XBL, when we get to hand everything out for all 3 leagues. Von Asen, Long Ballo, Most Improved, Rookie of the Year, all that. If you've never been a part of that before, that is always really, really exciting. So what do we got next?
Yeah,
AAA playoff bracket, right?
And Dwayne, that's one point I want to bring up real quick for anybody that's new in this league. Never take a game off, never tank a game. Always keep playing your best, because even if you're not having a great season, you're still up for things like Rookie of the Year, Von Asen, Long Ballo, Most Improved, which I've actually personally won the Most Improved award, and it's a great honor to win things like that. I say that as humbly as possible, but I'm just trying to say, even if you're having a rough season, we've got the round robin, we've got award show, which is really cool, that we love to put on. So just never take a game off, keep playing your best, and there's good things ahead in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, Ox. It's always important to, just put in the work and participate. That's the most important thing, is really just being here and being a part of it all. That's what makes it all tick, and being able to finish games and being a part of, the scheduling and participating, and not throwing games, like Ox said, things like that, all your numbers, it all ties into it. It makes it feel more makes it more exciting. You have career stats that we keep for you and things like that. So all that's, stuff you want to take care of, something to be proud of in the end. As we move in here to the AAA playoff bracket. So a lot of interesting stuff here, wouldn't you say, Ox?
Yeah, big eye popping. You're going to see Tezzy on the right-hand side of your screen fall out of that top 6. He was actually in the #1 spot earlier in the season, and he's really taken a dive here, but some of that is due to the strong play of people like Milkman. And, like we said, Rocket and Hikers still got a shot there to sneak in.
Yeah, absolutely. And games played going to be a huge factor for teams that are, on the cusp of being extremely behind, as this is the final week for regular season play. So hopefully everyone stays where they are and is able to remain in their seed. So I would say it stands as the top 4 or 5 in the AAA are pretty much safe, but even so, the Femme Fatales and the heavy hitters, yeah, they're going to be pushed out possibly by the Rocket and the Hikers, who are starting to really get their balls rolling.
So it's interesting, the AAA is shaping up to where we can almost go ahead and fill in a lot of these spots. If Jorsh and Panther are going to get 1 and 2, so the 2 teams on the right who win the 7 and 8 seed are going to play Jorsh and Panther. So, you know what I mean? That's going to be a big matchup to see if somebody can come out of the right side and knock off one of the big 2. And then another one, here's my AAA prediction, Dwayne. I like Milkman to finish 3rd overall, and we're going to see a great battle between Eduardo and No Name in that 4-5 spot. That'd be a great matchup.
Oh, that would be the small ball series to end all series. I think, the XBL would implode, if these two managed to meet up in a 4-5 quarterfinal. Or even
That'd
worse,
awesome.
maybe they meet in a World Series, or not worse, but better,
Yeah,
semifinal
the
or a
7-game
final
series
along the
would be
way.
even better.
Imagine seeing those two in, a World Series. That would be, a style of baseball that would contrast what we've seen from, Floribel and Ashnod and Lazy for such a long time, on the biggest stage in XBL baseball. So maybe something to look forward to. There's a lot of good stuff you could pull out of here. Teams on the right side could make some noise too. You never know. The Houston Stars, who've managed to pick up some big wins in close games, could really put themselves in the conversation too. Anyone can come out of this round robin from top to bottom. We were already talking about how, Mr. Incorporated as well is going to be one of those players who's really looking to just completely erase the regular season and make it anew in the round robin and try and get into the quarterfinals.
It's March Madness, baby. It's upset central. It gets the goosebumps going when I think about it, man. I would love to see somebody on the right-hand side come in and knock off one of those top 2 seeds. The Cinderella story.
For sure. I mean, this is effectively replacing rounds 1 and 2 of the AAA playoffs that we've seen in the past, where some of the biggest upsets have happened in history that people will remember to this day. And, when Captain Krill got as far as he did, Mystery Man's initial run in AAA last season where he got as far as he did, things like that. So, whoever runs through this round robin, that's going to be that type of story. This is still playoff baseball, so a lot to be, lots going to be on stake.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens, man. It's going to be great, and good luck to all those AAA teams.
For sure. We'll be looking towards the end of the week for that. And we'll head over now to the XBL Power Rankings. No playoff talk for this until next week, but let's take a look at ranks 16, 17, and 18 in the XBL as things really start to shape up. We still have the same 3 teams, I believe, down here. The Mythics and M. Bennings, the Tobians and Squiggle Jones tied at rank 16, no 17 this week. And then Finite and the Miners had no games last week, still remaining at 0-12.
Yeah, Finite's still fighting. He's looking to get that first victory, and good luck to him. But we've still got a deadlock here between M. Bennings and Squiggle, as we saw Squiggle split with Permatilt last week, and both those guys, still fighting. Their window's closing though to try to get to around, I think it's around 12 wins is what you got to have to make the playoffs.
Yeah, both of them at 18 games in a 34-game season, so just above halfway. They're going to really be looking to pick up wins, especially among players that are in and around their ranking area, especially in looking at M. Benning's strength of schedule being 18th. So he could be playing, a lot of players around himself that he has potential to get wins off of. So that would put him right in the mix. We'll be looking to these players to make some noise, and still, like we said, winless for the Miners. We're looking for him to come out this week. He said he has 4 or 5 schedules or series schedule later in the week. We'll be looking for wins out of that.
Yeah, finite. The playoffs might be out of reach for him, but he's not only looking to play spoiler, but he's got the all-time wins record within grasp, and he wants to separate from the Flash, who we'll see, is tied for 13th this week.
Yeah, we slide up the board. Flash tied for 13th with Stoichiometry, who's packed in the games and got himself a respectable 7-15 record here in the XBL. And then above them, dropping from rank 10 last week, is Pizza Volcano and the Moon Kingdom. All of these teams actually ranked tied for number 13th. I think this is the first time we've ever had a 3-team ranking on a power ranking show.
Wow, a 3-way tie for 13, and that is quite a logjam. If you take the power rankings for as much weight as you take the actual rankings, that would mean, that's right outside of that 12 spot cutoff for the playoffs. So all three of these teams desperately looking to knock on the door of that 12 spot.
Absolutely, yeah. These three teams could be in the conversation for, dare I say, the 12-13 seed play-in. I don't want to jinx it, but we've already talked about it a little bit in shows past, so you never know what could happen. We want it. We want to see it. I don't know. Maybe next week.
Give it to me.
Give it to me. Yeah. So maybe next week we'll see if we're a little bit closer when we start talking playoffs. If that might be the case for a 12-13 seed play-in game. That is in the rules. Go look it up.
Yeah. We hope to see it. A rough week for all three of these teams, as you see 0 victories on your screen. But now we move into 10, 11, and 12 as we see the Flippers got a couple of splits last week. Boops, not a lot of games played, but he did play you the other night. And we have Webb, who's also been pretty active.
Yeah, the Flippers picked up a couple respectable wins and moved themselves back up into the 12 range, and he's looking like he's going to be in the conversation along with the teams following him for that 12-13 seed. All 4 teams really in the mix, adding to that possibility of the 12-13 seed play-in. Boop's a little bit behind them on games, but as he catches up, he's going to be looking to stack the wins. He's got a pretty strong strength of schedule played, so he'll be playing among his peers as well. Really in the mix. His offense has looked strong, and his pitching has looked not quite as tight, but if he tightens that up, as he gets more games going in, he could really put himself in that conversation. And as you stated, yeah, Webb at number 8, dipping from number 10, took a tough sweep from me last week, and then split with the LA Sentinels in the form of GTM. So actually, really surprising split there. Webb, that strong offense, was able to get him in game 2, almost got him as well in game 1, so that would have been an awesome sweep for him if he had managed to get it. But even just doing a split there was a statement game, I would say, for the Ice Caps, who are putting themselves pretty firmly into a playoff berth area.
I mean, yeah, I was thinking that myself, Dwayne, but if you look at your screen, all 3 of these teams have 8 wins.
That is true. That is true.
Schedule. Permatilde has played far more games, but technically Boops is right there with Webb, and I'm not sure. I don't think those two have played each other yet, so that'd be a big series. And then, like you said, Webb got a big split against the Sentinels, who has played like a top 5 team all season long, so that's a big victory. Like you said, almost got a sweep against them. So hopefully Webb can keep up the strong play, but my friend Boops and Permatilde and some of these other guys are right on your tail.
Yeah, and you can see Boop's win percentage versus teams above 500 is a little bit higher than the 2 players around him as well. So that could play into his favor going down the line. But yeah, big games. Maybe Boops and Webb is the type of series we see on that extra, pre-playoff match of the week slot in week 7. We'll be looking forward for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's look at rank 7, 8, and 9.
Top 10. Yep.
What was that, Ox?
I was just saying we're going into the top 10 now here.
Yeah, 7, 8, and 9. It is still Wishbone at rank 7 in the XBL. Looking pretty strong. He's had a quiet week, just getting swept by Ashnob, which is not usually going to dip you too hard in the rankings, and especially if you put up a good fight. Look at him, number 1 strength of schedule as well. And then we have a huge jump for Speedy, 3 places, and tied with number 8. Ted Danson, who's that quintessential 12 and 12 500, the split king. Not as many splits this season, but his record is split right down the middle, as it always seems to be.
Yeah, sitting steady there with the 12 wins.
Steady
12
Teddy.
wins is the magic number. Steady Teddy. He gets a 4-0 week as he sweeps Flash. That was a crazy, crazy box score. I don't know if you saw that.
I did.
Flash put up 10 runs in the last 2 innings, and Ted still walked him off. Crazy game, but shout out to Speed Demon. The kid had a hell of a week, and he jumped up big time in the rankings. He's firmly in the top 10 now. And like you said, Wishbone, the top strength of schedule, still firmly sitting there in the 7 spot as he's been for like 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, a few more wins for the Astronauts, probably going to guarantee them a playoff berth. So we'll be looking this week, especially to them, to really nail that down. And his offensive stats have looked pretty strong. That's something that is surprised a lot of people. The good eye of Wishbone, and something that I think will improve as he gets into those games among the strength of schedule. Whereas he hasn't played a lot of the teams around him.
Yeah, he's certainly much improved this year. As we saw him miss the playoffs entirely last season, and now he's firmly in the top, 7 or 8 all season long so far. So great job by the Knots. And 4, 5, and 6 here gonna stay pretty much the same. We're gonna see the Mallards leapfrog the Sentinels though.
Yeah, interesting movement here for the Mallards over the Sentinels. I think even though in their first series for those teams this season, the Sentinels did sweep the Mallards, but we are a bit of a ways removed from that going into week 5. Luke had a strong week sweeping Burning River and sweeping the Mythics, and then he lost to Ashnod. And then I think the Sentinels, more so are the ones who moved down as opposed to Luke moving up, just getting a couple of splits in there with the Caps and the Pandas.
Yeah, honestly, as good of a player as GTM is, seeing that 0-2, 1-1, 1-1 week that he just had has got to be a little bit disappointing for as strong of a start as he's had, but a shout out to Panda, Speed Demons, Pandas, and Webs, Ice Caps for getting the split, and then Weaver, sweeping him. That's, Weaver's as tough as anybody to beat, so you can't blame him there, but it's just that's a tough week in the XBL.
Yeah, for sure. The strength of schedule shooting up for GTM last week, and he's still remaining well in the mix. I think all 3 of these teams fighting for that 4, 5, 6 overall spot as we get down into the nitty gritty here.
Yeah, that 4 spot's big because that's the bye cutoff. So, 5 and 6 are on the outside looking in there.
Yeah, for sure. Let's look at 1, 2, and 3 in the XBL. No changes here, no ties to be had, so everybody right where they were. Lazy still at number 1, still eye-popping on both fronts, followed by Weaver, who's dominant on the mound as ever, almost at 200 strikeouts already with games to play, and then Ashnod batting up eye-popping 472 with a 505 OBP. I mean, I can't believe the numbers this guy's putting up this season.
16.3 runs per 9, just edging Lazy's 14.6. I mean, that's crazy, Dwayne. But it's actually kind of interesting. Is on your screen, it's 1, 2, 3, and the rankings. This is actually flip-flopped as you'll see Ashnod on top, and Weaver tied with him. I don't know who actually owns the tiebreak between the two, but as we'll note in Wishbone, he has some great stats for us coming up. The only of the 3 left of these 3, the last series left to be played is Ash versus Lazy, the big rematch.
Yeah, that's going to be massive. We might as well slide right on over into Wishbone's storylines. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we just saw the top 3 in the XBL, and we're going to talk right about them off the rip here. It's the fact that the 3 of them have all split against each other so far, with only, as you stated, the rematch between the Blues and the Blackbirds, Lazy and Ashnod, yet to be played. So the favorite going into the playoffs still up in the air among these 3. We've seen them all put in great performances against each other, and that big classic series between Lazy and Ashnod is going to have a huge amount of eyes on it.
Yeah, and like I said, you could make I didn't actually vote it this way, but you could make the case that Ashnod deserves the number 1 spot right now just because of those absurd runs per 9 and, the top record there with Weaver with the 2 total losses. But I can't wait to see, the Lazy Ashnod rematch, like you said, and then how everything shakes out with these 3.
Yeah, I think I might have said it here last week. If I didn't say it in here, I said it before or after one of the matches of the week somewhere. But I'm calling it. I mean, I want to see the rematch Lazy and Ash World Series. Give me the Ashnod Championship in the third, the third matchup between those two. That would be the most amazing XBL storyline I think you could probably follow, but we'll see. It's all up in the air, as we stated already here.
You heard it, folks. There's the script. We'll see if it plays out that way.
Yeah, there's the script. Especially if it runs 7 games. We'll see. Next one I think we have to talk about here that Wishbone has highlighted is the fact that the XBL strikeout, pitching strikeout specifically, and then home run, hitting home runs records are in jeopardy. And we'll start off with the strikeouts. After several teams seemed poised to take the XBL strikeout record last season, we talked about it in a few shows, they all fell short. This season's larger pool of players has offered a greater opportunity, and Weaver and his Beavers are capitalizing. Currently averaging exactly 9 strikeouts per 9 and playing an average of 7.9 innings per game, Weaver's collected, on pace to collect 269 strikeouts, having already collected 193, which is a healthy margin over Bice's season 8 record of 240.
Yeah, so it looks like Weave needs about 70 more strikeouts in his remaining games to break Bice's. Well, I mean, he'd need less than that to break the record, but the significance of that, if anyone knows, season 8, there was no velo cap, 99 velo, unlimited velo cap, so there was a crazy amount of strikeouts that season, and since the 90 velo cap, that 240K record has stood. So people have come close, but nobody's been able to break the 240 threshold since. So it sounds like Weaver's the only one who has a chance this season, but he could do it.
Yeah, it's going to be big for him if he's able to do so. Strike out something that he definitely prides himself on in a way. He loves to get players out. He's putting himself way into the conversation as well on the all-time strikeout total board. I think up there in the top 5 now, if not, very, very close.
Oh. And on the flip side of that, Dwayne, we've got Smash Nod. He's got a chance to break his own home run record that he set in season 9 of XBL. He had 140 runs. Wishbone's noting that he's on pace to slimly break that 140 home run record at 142 is what he's on pace for right now.
Yeah, and after hitting less than 100 last season for the first time, Ashnod the first to 500 total recorded homers and things like that. It'd be big for him to come back and break a record. So we'll be looking at that in his last few games. He's got 22 games played now, so still 12 games to play. And he's got to hit about 50 homers. That's, sounds insane, but knowing Ashnod, it's possible.
If anybody's taking bets, I'd bet on Ashnod to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
That added contact's been huge for his team this year.
Absolutely, yeah. The 4-5 contact been big for the offense across the XBL. We'll talk more about a little bit of the opposite, though, as we highlight something unconventional in the form of the Base Bandits and the way they've been able to get some wins. And it's been no secret for a long time that the XBL is addicted to the big fly ball, with teams regularly putting up incredible home run totals each season. No Name and his Base Bandits, however, bucked this trend with their small ball ways. In a stat that I just totally made up, thank you to Wishbone, No Name is hitting .35 home runs per victory this season, totaling just 5 home runs so far in his very respectable 14 wins. This is in contrast to a notable Big Swingers Ashnod's Coupon's 4.5 and Unholy Yeez's 3.75 home runs per victory.
Yeah, which is insane, Dwayne. And it's not saying it's home runs per 9. It's saying in the games they win, Ashnod and Yeezus averaging, 4 home runs per victory, which is crazy. But No Name playing out there in Shaka, where home runs go to die. He's at 14-5 record this season, hitting just .35 home runs per game. So that's pretty impressive. But not surprising when you think about the way No Name plays the game.
Yeah, absolutely. He is the true small ball king. We were talking a little bit about that, about the potential for him and Eduardo to maybe meet down the road in some important playoff games, and how that would be, the small ball series to end all series. And that'll bring us to the second point of this stat, is that if you, like me and Wishbone, were wondering who had the lowest home runs per victory ever recorded in any of the leagues in XBL history, That honor also indeed belongs to No Name in season 10, just 2 seasons ago, when he hit just 1 home run total in his 6 wins for a .17 home runs per victory stat.
Wow, just 1 home run, and he keeps on picking Shaka, man. He loves it there, so he's proud of it, and he's proud of the way he plays. It's a very tough style to beat, so keep doing your thing, No Name.
Yeah, for sure. We love it. We love to see it each and every time No Name runs out there with his bandits and steals 10 bases a game and scratches out wins and also throws himself out of quite a few innings. But, you know, it's a specific brand of baseball, and it very well could take him all the way to the promised land in the AAA this season.
Let's go, sirloins.
We'll go on now to the plays of the week portion of the show. This is the exciting tail end of it. So let's, without further ado, check out play number 5. This is a play that me and Ox will love to really break down for you. Right off the beginning of the game here, a quick 2-strike count from Finite in a game versus GTM, and it's 0-2, and GTM, the Mad Lad, drops down a perfect bunt and gets himself a leadoff single. It's the most unorthodox thing I've ever seen.
You know, Dwayne, it's crazy, crazy take right here, but despite being such a good hitter, GTM is probably the best bunter I've ever seen.
Really, yeah, I'm gonna have to see a few more bunts out of him, but you know, normally the risk dropping it down with 2 strikes, I guess in the beginning of the game, not super huge, but he clearly knows what he's doing. He put it in the best spot. Even the pitcher was able to field it, but too much speed to get to it.
Yeah, I mean, he's the king of that base hit bunt down the line, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody try it with 2 strikes. You know, maybe a sacrifice with 2 strikes, that makes sense because, you know, you're just giving yourself up at that point. But for a base hit, that's really unconventional and a really cool play.
Yeah, well deserved to see that here on Plays of the Week. We'll keep on sliding up the board now to see what's next as play number 4, and this one is from a game between Unholy Yeezus and Mystery Man. It's a 3-run shot from the Milkmen, and they're already up. The significance of this one is the fact that it's a pitcher dinger, and it's the first one we've had submitted all season, so congrats to Yeezus ripping one out with his pitcher there.
Yeah, and it was quite a bomb, well into the seats, 426.
Yeah, it was not a wall scraper.
Yeah, it was a no-doubter, and pitcher home runs, something, you know, you see some of them at Red Rock, but it's usually to the short porch, and this one got out of dead center, no doubter.
Yeah, very well hit from Yeezus. Well deserved to see that on some Plays of the Week action. We'll head up now to play number 3, and this one was submitted by Permatilt in a game which he lost to Weaver. Pretty close game, at least at the time. It was 4-2, and this saved him from giving up even more runs and ended the inning. A great dive to his right in that right center field gap at Emerald Diamond.
Yeah, really an incredible catch. Both of these runners surely would have scored and made it a 6-2 ball game with Weaver still hitting in a guy on second. So for Perma to keep it here at 4-2, that's huge. And then, you know, you come in, try to score some runs, he could have tied the game up. That's a big swing of momentum.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Great play there. Great timing on the dive. You see how early he had to dive while that ball was still in the air just to get the play done. So nicely put together from Permatilt. Let's check out play number 2. This one is a little bit longer. It was submitted by Boops pretty much at the last second, but it's a comeback here in the bottom of the 8th inning, down 2 runs against Squiggle Jones. You see he gets that rip to the left field side, allows that runner to score from second base, and puts himself within 1 run, and that'll set him up here with Kevin Biggio, his 7-hole hitter, not the most power, and 2 runners on base.
And this is some really clutch baseball here, Dwayne, because like I said earlier, Boops is sitting there at 8-12 with Webb, identical records, and without this crazy comeback against the Toe Beans, you know, he'd obviously be at 7-13, and every game's huge for anybody right in that playoff hunt.
Yeah, like you just said it, everyone's trying to pick up very, very valuable wins right now in that mix, and this home run put Boops in the conversation. You know, it really put him along the road to do it, and to do it with a player that doesn't have a lot of stats either, right into that front row at Motor Yard. That's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely, and just insanely clutch for the Colts to get that victory there. It's got to be a heartbreaker for Squiggle, who was trying to play spoiler.
For sure, and trying to keep themselves in that conversation. You know, could, if his ball gets rolling, those other teams only have 8 wins is what I'm trying to say, and Squiggles only got 4, but yeah, wins add up quick, so we'll see what the end of the season brings for any of those teams in the XBL. As we look at play number 1 here, and this is one that was submitted. There was 2 very similar plays, and I picked the one here that was later in the game in extras, where Webb puts himself ahead with a dead center field shot, 4-3 against Permatilt in the away game.
Yeah, and Webb, I gotta say, is one of the most entertaining guys to watch stream this game. If you don't follow him, he's a treat to watch play. As is everybody who streams in this league, but you gotta love the reactions on, whether he has a good outcome or whether he screws up. Webb's truly a fun guy to watch play.
Yeah, and great reaction there as he puts himself ahead. He still had to get 3 outs after the fact, as he was the away club in this one. And he tied the game in the top of the 9th as well with a home run. So that was the clip we had to choose between. This one, though, put him ahead, and he's sitting there at 8-12, like you said, tied with J Boops in the mix for these final playoff spots. So that'll do it here tonight for us.
He split with Permatilt, Dwayne, and they're all 3, log jam there with eight wins. So, again, this comeback is a huge victory, avoiding the sweep against Permatilt.
Yeah, very huge. Lots of appearances from Permatilt on tonight's Plays of the Week. But yeah, as I already stated, that's going to do it for us tonight on the show. We really appreciate everybody who dropped by. Do you have any PSAs for us, Ox, before we head out for the evening?
A couple PSAs, Dwayne. Please keep submitting highlights, guys. We love to see highlight plays and not just, home runs, which, everybody loves seeing home runs, but keep submitting all those great defensive plays. We just showed you a bunt this week. We love to see great baseball and great baseball plays, so keep on submitting, and keep submitting those non-highlight plays as well, because we'll have something special coming up for those. And get your games in, guys. Keep getting those games in. AA, AAA. It's supposed to end this week. Don't make the commissioners flex any muscles and start, axing games off the schedule, because guys want to play their games. So if you're somebody behind on games, I know everybody's got, a busy life and a busy schedule. I know it's tough to play the West Coast guys, but reach out to people, DM them. Don't just rely on the series request channel. DM your opponents you have remaining and get the games played, please.
For sure. Well said, Ox. That's definitely, a main focus. Reach out to everybody you have left to play. As we hit the business end here, we want to get into those round robins nice and smooth so everybody can play a lot of fun playoff baseball. So get excited for that. Get the games in. And if you have any difficulties, as always, just reach out to us here in the league office. We'll be able to try and accommodate you as best as possible. And yeah. Well said, Ox. Thank you for being here with me tonight, and I'll see you again, I'm sure, when we do some more casting for upcoming matches of the week later this week, and another weekly roundup where we're going to go over some more playoff talk next week. Everybody, Thanks for joining us tonight, and have a safe and pleasant evening, everybody.
Yeah, thanks again, Dwayne, and thanks for having me. Thanks a lot to Wishbone for those great stats again this week, and good luck as we close out the last couple weeks of the season.
Absolutely. Good luck to everybody. Have a safe and pleasant evening. And thank you all for all the participation. We'll see you next time.